from others. Crazy that we fly to space, but gotta sit down and debate about billions of animals being enslaved, cause we wanna take what is theirs.
I turned vegan 5 years ago when I went to Australia for the first time. I got actually outreached by AV.
I've seen it all with my own eyes. Innocent babies are loaded on trucks and then shipped to the country they're destined to die in a slaughterhouse. You making money off body parts.
They're scumbags. They're doing all these horrible things. They deserve to have like a own diss track just targeting what they're doing.
Pilgrim's Pride. This one's for you, you scumbag company.
I wish I didn't have to make these songs. Like I wish it ends at some point and I'll make songs about something else.
We're gonna make it all end. Stop the supply and demand. Stand for the change. Shout out to Joey and Ed.
Welcome to the Viva Vegan podcast. I'm James and I work as a campaigner for Viva. Today we are joined by rapper and animal rights activist Feldy. Feldy has been coming with a whole new angle on animal rights music and has also been creating some really interesting content on his social media. He's joining us from Italy today. So, Feldy, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I think just before we start, I don't often speak to rappers. So would you prefer to be called Feldy or use your actual name or?
I think Feldy is perfect. My friends call me Feldy, so let's be friends.
Perfect. Okay, that sounds great to me. Awesome. Yeah. So thank you for joining us. I'm really excited about this interview today. I think you're definitely adding something very new and nuanced to the animal rights movement. And I really want to share that with our viewers today. Firstly, I want to ask just a little bit about you so people can get more of an understanding of who you are and where you come from, you know. So yeah, if you could tell us where you're from, maybe your age as well.
Yeah, of course. So it's always funny because when people ask me where I'm from, it's always like the first struggle because I don't look Italian, but I'm actually from Italy. And this region where I'm coming from, where I was also born, is a place where you speak German and Italian. So it's like very close
Interesting.
to the border of Switzerland and also Austria. But yeah, our passports are Italian, so I consider myself Italian, but I'm also half Polish because my mom's from Poland. So I'm a bit of a mix. So yeah, I'm 26 years old and this beautiful place is called South Tyrol. I just came back here again from Australia because I've spent a lot of time in Australia as well, like 3 years almost.
Wow.
And yeah, that's something, that I could tell about myself.
Awesome. So you say that you come from an area where they speak German and Italian. So
Yes.
how many languages do you speak?
So I actually speak almost 5 languages.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's German, Italian, Polish, English, and a bit of French.
Awesome. And have you ever rapped in any of those languages or is it predominantly English?
I haven't because I just think English is the one that is the most natural to me, but who knows, maybe at some point I'll try some other languages as well.
Yeah, cool. And yeah, obviously we are an animal rights organization and this podcast is predominantly speaking to people in the movement. So maybe you could share a little bit with us about your journey to veganism and activism in general.
Yeah, so I turned vegetarian first. Unfortunately, I wouldn't ask anyone to go vegetarian first. I would ask people to go vegan first, but most people, I think, went vegetarian first, and that's what happened to me. I went to an all-you-can-eat restaurant, and I was like 16, and I've seen all these like fish and all that stuff, and I was like, wow, those are animal parts. Blood was flowing through this, and that's when I first made the connection to, that food isn't always food, it's animals. So that's where I sat down. I was like, I'm done with this. I don't want to eat meat anymore. I didn't really stopped eating fish because we have this thing where we don't have that connection to fish because we don't see them that often. We don't hear them scream. But slowly, I cut out fish and meat as well. And I turned vegan 5 years ago when I went to Australia for the first time. I got actually outreached by AV. A lot of
Nice.
activists or vegans are always surprised. They're like, "Oh, wow, you got outreached." I'm like, "Yeah, that is what activism is supposed to do." Or like AV, they're supposed to outreach you and turn you vegan. So yeah, they did a good job. I'm super thankful because they, I would say turned my life around. I'd say it's the best decision I've ever made, and I'm so grateful for the people outreaching to me and open my eyes. And I actually started doing activism like the day after. I was like, okay, I get it.
Wow.
Vegan, I mean, everyone should be vegan. I get it. Like, it was like a click in my head. I was like, but what can I do more? Like, how can I give this on to other people? So I remember staying in a hostel and grabbing some flyers from AV actually the same night and going back to the hostel and giving it to the people in the hostel. I was like, did you know about that? I mean, I would look into this. This is really crazy what's going on. And I was vegan for like, I don't know, 30 minutes at that point. So, and then I started joining a few Cube of Truths, so like with AV, and did a bit of Dominion outreach because that was pretty big in Australia at that time, still is. And then I did more activism, started also working for Joey Carbstrong, which I hope is a name in the animal rights scene.
Yeah.
Because he's really doing amazing work. Like, I'm so grateful that he's around. And I was like, I forgot to mention that I'm a videographer as well. So for me, it was really important to mix videography with a strong purpose, like animal rights. So my dream was always to work for someone that has a strong message that stands for animal rights. So started working for Joey Carbstrong in 2020. We worked for like 5 months because I decided to come from Italy to the UK. Stayed there. We smashed out so many videos. So if you guys go back to his YouTube channel and to like September to December 2020, you can see all the videos we did. And that's how I started doing more activism related with videography. And at some point, I started making music because I don't come from a background from music. So I wasn't raised with music or anything. I just felt that connection towards music because I always listened to a lot of music. And somehow I was like, well, I want to connect it with animal rights as well. So, that's why now my main activism is through music. And,
Awesome. If I could just go back a little bit to, because this is quite interesting to meet someone who's been, who's converted to veganism from vegetarianism through street outreach, because we've all had those conversations during street outreach, and you never know for sure. They might say, yeah, I'm going to do it, but you never know.
Yeah.
So what was it that they said that made you think like, you know what, I need to leave vegetarianism and fully commit to veganism?
So the place where I was born, we all have there's local farms and really small farms everywhere. So the main excuse people use here is factory farms, we don't have them, they're all somewhere else and stuff like that. So I obviously used the same excuses back when I was getting outreached. I was like, factory farms are bad, but where I live, we don't really have that. And she was like, oh, so those animals don't get killed at all? And I was like, no, they get killed. So, and she was like, do you think they want to get killed? And I was like, I don't think so. And I don't know, that simple thing just clicked. I just made the connection of animals don't want to die, they don't want to get killed, so they don't want to be killed. So that was the trigger. Simple as it sounds, but that was.
I think that's Yeah, really powerful. We hear most of the time, don't we, during street activism, that people are so opposed to factory farms, but there's a better way. It's like free range, grass-fed, organic. But, you know, sometimes you could consider it even worse. Those animals have a huge desire to live and enjoying the experience of life. So
I think
that's
I think when you get people to understand that it doesn't matter where animals come from. I mean, it obviously does matter in terms of like suffering and stuff like that, but it doesn't matter. So it's not going to make a difference if you say, oh, these animals had a good life and get killed now that is, oh, okay, so then it's fine. If you get people to understand that killing them in general is the problem, then I think it makes the outreach conversation way easier, because then they don't try to justify where they came from and how they were, you know, treated and stuff like that.
Yeah, you're right. Once you can bust that myth of humane slaughter, that's when veganism is like opened up, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. So you mentioned Joey Carbstrong as well, and I want to come back to that a little bit later on in the interview, just because I think it's he's obviously been an inspiration to you with your music and your activism and stuff. But I wanted to ask a little bit about your route into music, and have you always been into music and a musician? And what was your background really?
So I remember that I got into like hip hop and rap when I was, I don't know, maybe like 11 years old, and I listened to a lot of Eminem, Lil Wayne, and I don't know, there was something that I really loved about that. And I remember also to study the lyrics and like try to remember the flows, and I was like, wow, this is crazy. But then somehow I just listened to a bunch of different music, and I never considered trying anything like that, or I was just like always listening to it, but I never thought of like doing something myself. But then at some point I was like, I actually love to make my own music too. But then the question was, I always thought like I can't, because I wasn't raised with music. Like, you know, you hear on all these documentaries, they're like, oh yeah, I was born with the guitar in my hands and stuff like that. So I was like, that's not me, but I guess everyone can do what they want to do once they feel a desire to do this. So I'm making music. I started making music about 2 years ago now, and it's been something that I really love, and opened a lot of doors as well. And music is truly connecting people.
Yeah, you're right. I think that's one thing that really caught my eye about your music is I remember a friend sent me the Pilgrims track, and I thought, wow, I've not heard animal rights music like this before. You know, it's usually kind of peaceful acoustic guitar, which is great. I love that kind of music, but I think that track in specific really came from like a total different angle, and I think it opens up the animal rights message to a lot more people. Was that something that you had in mind when you were making these songs? Did you think, wow, I have something here that's going to open up to another audience? Yeah,
see, that's the crazy thing. I started writing my debut EP, so like my first EP, about a year ago. And I knew it's going to have 6 tracks. And I knew that one of those 6 tracks needs to be an animal rights song. So that was Exposed. The song is called Exposed, not Pilgrims. I'll come back to that one soon. But I thought that is going to be the song that no one really is going to care about or is not going to listen, because, I don't know, it's about veganism or animal rights. So I thought, no one's going to care about that, but I want to make it for myself, because it's something that I'm super passionate about. And a lot of artists say that, but it's always the song you never think no one's going to listen to. That's the one that catches people's eyes and or ears in that sense. So it's the same with Pilgrims. I didn't think to do anything like, I don't know, new or special. I just thought, wow, they're scumbags. They're doing all these horrible things. They deserve to have like a own diss track just targeting what they're doing and exposing their lies. And yeah, so I guess it's just pure emotion, and yeah, that comes together and creates this thing. Like I always say, I wish I didn't have to make these songs. Like I wish.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, obviously people listen to them and say, wow, but then I'm like, well, I hope it ends at some point and I'll make songs about something else.
Yeah, that's totally true. I think it's like with vegan activism as well. It's, especially if someone's employed with an animal rights organization, it's almost like if they succeed in their job, they're going to be out of a job. Yeah.
Like, it's funny, like we always say we do this to stop doing this at some point.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, you mentioned Exposed and Pilgrims, your two probably biggest animal rights songs, and you're totally right, they had a real energy, like a raw, passionate energy to them. Yeah. And I just wanted to bring up one of your other songs, which is June, because I feel like that had a totally different angle and maybe demonstrated another side to you as an artist. Could you just tell us a little bit about that song and what that song meant to you?
So June is the song I wrote for my dad that passed away almost 3 years now. And because I knew I'm going to make an EP, I wanted to just cover like the 6 most important topics to me. So obviously, my dad's passing was one of them, and I knew I want to dedicate a song to him. So the title is called June because he was born in June, but also passed away in June. So I thought that's the perfect title. And yeah, I think music to me in general is just something where there's no right or wrong in terms of emotions, because you can just open up a space where you can let all these emotions or lyrics flow, you know, and give them the energy that, you know, that you maybe can't give it in real life, like anger or stuff like that. Yeah, that's another side of me that obviously needs to have some sort of I don't know, gateway where I can send that energy in and create a song out of that. And yeah, I think it was the reason why I wanted to bring that one up, because it was a very moving song, and the same as Pilgrims and Exposed, but for a different way it was moving. And yeah, I think a beautiful song. Thank you.
No problem. So yeah, obviously it was the animal rights music that caught my attention of you initially. And I was just wondering, is there an animal rights EP or album in the pipeline maybe?
Not for now, but in my head for sure. Yeah, like I don't see a reason why not. Like when I released Exposed, I was like, wow, yeah, I actually really want to make an animal rights EP. Well, because I have to be honest, I never thought that, like, even vegans, I didn't think they're gonna care about Exposed. I thought, like, I don't know, like, now looking back, I'm like, well, but yeah, I definitely want to make an animal rights EP. But the thing is, when I'm doing something, I just don't want to do it because I have this idea and just want to smash it out. I want to, think about it, how I'm going to do it, and what's like the main, message and purpose behind it. Because I also want to make songs that are dedicated for each industry. So Exposed basically covers like the main topic. But I really want to make songs that cover the dairy industry, egg industry, and all these industries. So people can use it for for their reels and stuff like that, so they can like highlight this specific industry.
Yeah, I think that's really important. Obviously, it's using your music as a way to reach people, because I think everyone listens to music pretty much, don't they? And it's such a great gateway into people's minds. Not everyone might watch a conversation on YouTube or an animal rights documentary, but all it takes is for them to hear one song, 1 3-minute song. And it's such a great introduction, I guess. I wanted to ask, and I think you kind of alluded to this earlier, but is there anyone in particular that has inspired you in your music or in your activism, or both? Can be one or multiple people.
So activism for sure, Joey. Like working with him, I got inspired more because I've learned a lot, like how to respond to certain arguments or questions and stuff like that. But I just really like his, drive for what he's doing, and he's not pushing back. He really just his focus is on the animals, and when I worked with him, I got to see that more, because usually you just see a video and you think something of a person, but working with someone for a longer period of time shows you how they, really are, and how they work, and that, really inspired me. And in terms of music, Machine Gun Kelly is a huge inspiration to me. Like, I got to actually perform with him on stage in September. I don't know, was it 2 years, 1.5 years ago? That kind of was that first push for me, where I was like, wow, this is my journey, because I've been a fan of his music, and he got me on stage because I made a sign if I can rap a song with him, and I was like, wow. I didn't even have a song yet, and I just wanted to rap that song with him, and I was like, wow, everything's possible.
Definitely.
Yeah, that really inspired me. And also NF. I know that a lot of people don't know who NF is, but his music is just different. Like, it's so unique, and I don't have many artists that I kind of like look up to or get inspiration from, but I have like these few that I really like listening to, and get inspiration and ideas from it.
Okay. If you could tell the listeners one song from NF that you would suggest they listen to, what would that be?
It depends on the mood, because some people like something more sad or something more aggressive. My favorite song is Careful, because it's more energetic and in your face.
Sure.
But also, there's so many. Like, it wouldn't do justice to actually name one. But I would suggest to listen to the album Hope.
Okay.
It's his latest album, and there's just so many good songs on there. I would actually be afraid to name one, because I was like, I should have said the other one. So just listen to Hope. It's a mix of emotions and energy. So that's something I really love about an artist that has a variety of songs and different emotions. Sure.
Awesome. That's really cool about Machine Gun Kelly as well. I don't suppose you got to outreach him, did you?
I didn't have time for that, unfortunately. I wish he would. He will turn vegan at some point. I wish that, because I always think
maybe one day
big artists, it's amazing when they turn vegan, because then they have a big audience. So that's also one of my inspirations to let's say Billie Eilish and stuff like that, because she's vegan, she has a huge audience. So
sure.
that inspires me as well, because I know the more people know me, more people will get to hear my music and hopefully make the connection towards a vegan lifestyle.
Yeah, that's very true. Cool. So whilst doing a little bit of research on you for this podcast, a very interesting character, by the way, I saw that you are into fitness as well, and you were going through a stage where you were bulking up. Is that still the case? Are you still...
Not at all.
No.
So at the moment, I'm just trying to go to the gym once or twice a week just to stay active, stay fit, But I'm really happy that I put in a lot of work a few years ago, because now I'm, and all the muscle I've gained that was without meat. I was vegetarian at that point, so
yeah.
I know that you don't need animal products. Like I was still eating dairy at that point, but then I cut it out and nothing changed. Like I actually would say it worked better because my body wasn't like I was all swollen and stuff. My face was all like like I don't know, just I looked different when I cut out dairy. That's when the change actually happened. Like from when I turned vegetarian, I didn't really feel that much of a difference in terms of general health. Maybe because I was still young and didn't really pay attention. But then when I turned vegan, so from vegetarian to vegan, and cut out dairy, that's when I felt, oh wow, I need less sleep, like something's changed, because I think milk's really, really bad for you. And now I'm just trying to stay active and do like basic exercises to sustain the muscle that I have. But yeah, maybe at some point I'll try to gain again.
And maybe I think a good question to ask would be, many vegetarians and non-vegans will watch this video. So why would you say that milk is bad for you?
First of all, because it's not made for humans, maybe. And also, I think, well, it's not just that I think, it's also like proven that calves drink the milk to grow quick because they're small, so they need to like get big. And I think when we're humans, like especially grown up men or women, and we drink something that is made for a baby cow, a lot of things go on in our bodies, like we swell up or we have digestive problems. So I think it's just something that is not made for people who are already, grown up and don't need any like substance that makes you grow quick. So yeah, like I mean, it's so easy. Like we don't see humans drinking breast milk from other mothers, so why would we drink the milk that's made for a baby cow? It's very weird, but I guess like no one asks these questions because you're born into this society where it's just a glass of milk and milk here and milk there. But once you actually understand where it's coming from, that's where it makes more sense to stop drinking.
All very good points. Yeah, I totally agree. That kind of brings me on to, I want to know a little bit more about the activism that you do. I'm sure anyone who's seen your social media can see that you're not just a musician, but an activist as well. And I remember at the end of the Pilgrims video, you were with some pigs.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to know a bit more about that experience. You've made this passionate song in defense of animals, and you've also spent time with these animals. How was that experience?
So when I made the Pilgrim song came together because I watched Pignorant, and I was part of the documentary as well. I captured some footage. I think it was actually in front of Pilgrim's Pride with Joey. I don't know when that was, back a few years ago. So I was super keen to watch the final documentary. So I got to see it, and I was like, wow. I mean, I knew every single thing, but you know, when you're vegan for like 5 years, you know that these things happen, that they gas pigs and all that stuff, and it's really bad. But yeah, obviously after watching a documentary about it, you get super emotional, and you're like, wow, I need to do something as well. So that's how the song came together. And then obviously once the song is done, you're thinking about the music video, and I knew I want to have some footage of pigs and me as well, because I always feel like when people see you with the animals, then they can see, oh wow, this is actually something that is happening. It's not just some random footage from some random farms. It's actually something that you see, you know, you've seen with your own eyes. And yeah, just ask my friend to find a pig farm, and yeah, we obviously trespassed that pig farm, and I've never been in a pig farm before, so I didn't really know what we're going to see. And I also have to say, we didn't see the most like brutal things in there, but
Sure.
that was already brutal enough, because the smell, the amount of pigs, and just the sadness in that farm. Like, it wasn't one of those farms where you see all the piglets, you know, lying squished on the floor and like in really bad conditions. But I would say this was probably considered one of the better farms, but that was already like bad. Like, there was so many pigs in there. They were screaming. It was just a sad, like, sad energy in there, because that's all they know. It's just darkness, just feces everywhere. And yeah, there were 3 piglets left alone as well somewhere, so they were just like lying in this small bucket. And yeah, it was hard to like leave the place and knowing they're still there. Like, I don't know where they're now, you know, probably ended up on someone's plate. But yeah, that's the hard thing about it, to see this and then leave and know you can go home, but they just stay there and you can't rescue them all. And yeah, so if this even shows, it doesn't have to be as brutal as you think. Even if there would be just like 2 or 1 pig, it wouldn't do, you know, it wouldn't be correct to keep them in a place like this. They should, you know, live a happy life.
Yeah, that's a beautiful statement. I totally agree. And there was, if I remember correctly, there was one scene where you were actually stroking the pig, like you had a bit of time with them.
Yeah.
Which is yeah, I guess even me as a, you know, a vegan and animal rights activist, I think those animals would be scared and not want that human interaction, but I guess that was not the case, right?
Yeah, I don't know. They were so like innocent, and they were just, so yeah, I think that's a good way of putting it. They were just existing. They were not living. They were not dead. They were just existing there. They were not exploring anything, because there's nothing to explore. It's like putting someone in a, you know, empty room. Like, they're just existing there. You can't explore. You can't talk to anyone. So I try to, you know, give them some love, but also like it makes it harder for you as well, because you're leaving and, you know, they're still there. And that was actually like the next day I woke up and I was like, wow, they're actually still there. And yeah, or when I was editing the video, I was thinking about them, and that's just 3 little piglets. Imagine how many other are out there. And yeah,
that's very true. Yeah, you're a brave man for going in there, for sure, and, you know, giving witness and testimony to those little babies. Yeah, I wanted to talk briefly about the activism that you've been doing of late. Well, it's on your social media of late. I think there's a really interesting stunt that you've been doing. I was just wondering if you could tell the people who are watching this a little bit about it, and obviously if they can go to your social media as well if they want to actually interact more with the content.
Yeah. So I was doing the East Coast with my girlfriend, and I knew that we're going to. Sorry, I need to explain this a bit more. So I was doing the East Coast with my girlfriend in a van. So we were traveling the whole East Coast of Australia, and I knew we were going past a lot of slaughterhouses, and I was like, I can't just drive past them. But somehow I never had that idea that I could, that special idea. So after the East Coast, I had a flight back to Italy, and on the last day, when I was still in Australia, I had this idea. I was like, what if I go to a slaughterhouse with a few boxes and just ask them if they can kill my dog? Because I was like, well, they do it humanely, they do it quickly, without pain, without suffering, so they must be the ones who, could do it. Now, obviously, there wasn't a dog in the box. There was a speaker in the box with the dog loop that was barking. And, I asked my friend Ryan to help me film. We just pulled up to a few slaughterhouses, and I asked them if they can, kill the dog because the vet's on holiday, and I need someone to do it professionally because I've heard they do it humanely and quickly, and they kill cows, so it should be easy for them to kill a dog. But yeah, obviously they all refused. A lot of them obviously said, for legal reasons, they can't do it. But obviously, even if it would have been legal, they wouldn't do it because it's a dog. And it was a very interesting thing to do. But it just shows the hypocrisy that we have this double standard.
Totally true. It's shows the inherent speciesism, doesn't it? That we talk about humane ways to kill animals, but we would never take them to a slaughterhouse for it to happen. Yeah. And I think your activism, for any non-vegan who watches it, will definitely bring that into the picture, I think. Yeah. So great activism, really creative idea. I liked that a lot.
Thank you. So to come back to that, when I said I did the East Coast with my girlfriend and we drove past a lot of slaughterhouses, there was one time where I actually, I haven't released this yet, but I went up to the slaughterhouse and they didn't know we were filming, and I asked the security guards if I can just have a tour because I'm a tourist. I just want to have a look behind the scenes because I'm very curious, and we went to a lot of sanctuaries, so I thought the slaughterhouse might let me in as well and have, I can have a look. So they obviously denied that, and I tried to get in a little conversation with them, and one of them actually said, because I said, I'm not sure if I want to continue to eat meat, because I played, a bit stupid. I was like, I'm still eating meat, and I'm trying to see what's happening in a slaughterhouse so I can make my mind up. And he actually said, I think if you would go in there, you'd stop eating meat. So I was like, that's...
Wow.
Yeah. That's good that he said that, because then people see that, nothing humane is happening in there.
Yeah, that's a really powerful line.
Yeah.
I look forward to seeing that on your social media.
I still need to chop everything up because it's a long conversation, but yeah.
Sweet. And just to go back, you mentioned that you were traveling the East Coast of Australia. Were you kind of camping, or was it just like staying at hostels, that kind of thing?
So back in December, so end of December, I met a really special friend. His name is Dim, and he's an animal rights activist as well. He runs the organization called Don't Watch, which is basically a short version of Dominion, the documentary. And we were vibing instantly, and he said, he's going to the UK to work for the vegan camp out, and he has a van in Australia, and just have my van. And I was like, bro, you know me for one day, you're giving me your van. He's like, yeah, whatever. Like, I don't care. I feel the vibe. Just have it. And yeah, that's how I ended up living in a van for 3 months, in his van, rent free.
Awesome.
I gave him a little upgrade. I built like a bed and stuff. And one of those 3 months I spent with my girlfriend, and we did the whole East Coast. And that was a beautiful experience, and also a nice little reset of everything else. You know, like, you don't have a water tap you're just opening. You don't have a shower straight away. You need to find everything to cook and stuff like that. So yeah, I really enjoyed that. But now I'm also happy to have all these things again.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I guess, like you said, it's a reset. Makes you more grateful for the things that we have so readily available. Awesome. So I've really enjoyed this interview. I think it's been really great discussion. It's been really good to get your insights. There's one more question that I have that I guess I would like to close on. And that is, if you could give one statement to all of the non-vegans who are watching this, what would that be? What would you say to them?
It's definitely always the same thing that I say everywhere else, and that it's easier for us to be vegan than to be an animal, because people come up with excuses and yes, this and that, but all that doesn't matter anymore when you're in the position of an animal. Like, that is hard, but it's not hard to be vegan. It's not hard to transition from one to the other. It's a bit of information that you have to get, and a bit of trying here, trying there, it's way easier for us to be vegan than to be an animal.
It's very, very powerful words. Thank you for that. It kind of reminds me of I think Gary Yourofsky said one time, we need to see things from the victim's perspective.
Yeah
That
changes everything.
Very true. Brilliant. Well, thank you for the interview. It's been a real pleasure, and good luck with the music. If anyone is interested in getting to know a little bit about Feldy and the music that he does, his social media will be posted below and also in the description. So thank you so much, Feldy, for joining us.
Thank you so much. And don't forget to come to the vegan camp out, because I'll be performing there this year, which I'm so excited about. I hope to see a lot of vegans and maybe also non-vegans there that end up leaving as vegans.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, my friend. Take care.
Thank you so much.